Georgia at Kentucky. I'm going to start here. Kentucky, to me, coming into this season with Will Levis, and who I still believe is going to play on Sundays for a long time, and Mark Stoops and the culture that they built at Kentucky, I thought they were going to be extremely competitive, and they were for the beginning part of the year.
Right, he got hurt.
He did get hurt. He's back now, correct?
He is.
And to go out and lose and hand Vandy their first SEC win, I believe, since 2019. Bad look. So they're licking their wounds. Right. Do you think that Kentucky at home in Lexington has a shot to jump out of the bucket and bite Georgia in this matchup this Saturday?
I compared a game like this like a game like this last week, and I would say, to me, what's Kentucky's record? Are they a 3-loss team, 4-loss team? Let me look.
They are a 4-loss team at this point. 6-4.
I would say it's comparable to Notre Dame beating Clemson, because Notre Dame was they had a fluky season. They finally put together one game against a. But I would say Georgia's definitely better than Clemson at this point in the season. But I mean, it's reasonable. It's doable. Is it likely? No, but it definitely is doable at home. Notre Dame beat Clemson at home, and they were able to get a win. And basically, it changed the course and narrative of their season. Like that, getting that win, erased losing to. I think they lost to Marshall at home. That's what it was. Notre Dame lost to Marshall. So I can see this being a game like that for Kentucky, where if they can live up, because the thing is, Kentucky is, like you said, it's supposed to be a competitive team. I was thinking like a 2-loss, maybe 1-loss team, getting into a New Year's Six bowl. People compare Will Levis to Josh Allen, which I think those sometimes are reasonable comparisons with the body type, the athleticism, the arm strength. And so they definitely didn't see themselves being 6-4, is what I'm saying. And so I think the pride and hopefully in the program, getting this win to me would salvage the season. And so that's kind of, if I'm the coach, that's how I'm looking at this game, trying to find every trick play in the book, trying to figure out every like hole in the ship of Georgia to figure out to win this game. If I'm betting money, I'm picking Georgia. But there is a slim chance that Kentucky could pull one out at home.
Yep. I agree with you. Let me ask you this question, and this is related to Kentucky, but in general. We talked about this a little bit last night on the show, but I'm curious your thoughts. Kentucky this weekend, or any team for that matter, how do you slow down Georgia at this point? Is it capitalizing against their defense? Is it capitalizing against their offense? Is it creating turnovers? What is it, if anything, that can slow down and allow you to beat the Georgia Bulldogs at this point?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta definitely. They haven't been invincible this year. That's the thing about football, is like they've shown moments of weakness. The Kent State game, there's a couple other games, the Missouri game. They show moments where they definitely were, like, they have some weaknesses. They definitely have some holes. Now they have been dominant as a whole, because even in those games they found a way to really create some, to really kind of push back and dominate those games when 4 quarters were done. But I would say look at those games, and there was tendencies in there to me they can exploit. But at the same time, I'm sure Georgia, being the program they are, have fixed those as they went on to the season, like any good team should. And so if I'm them, I don't know. I would just, because the defense is good. They have a really good defense. Their offense, they've kind of shown they can give it to you how you want it. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball down your throat. Stetson Bennett's a playmaker. So to me, he's the key. Like, because he extends plays, bro. And he makes plays with his legs. So I would say if you could kind of contain him, because he's also like, he has better pocket presence than people give him credit for. You're a quarterback, so you mean. But at the same time, I feel like he also, like, if you can contain him in the pocket, I feel like you can make the day a little harder for him. Because there's some plays I've seen him do have like 10 seconds before he throws the ball. Like, he'll run, and then find a man open down the field, which is hats up to him. But hopefully the defense can contain that. And so I would say contain Stetson Bennett, and then finding some way to me to just manufacture points. I think Georgia can definitely score. Like I said, even the Tennessee game, people thought it would be a shootout, but really it was just Georgia. They just controlled the game. So maybe if you can contain them and maybe dictate the offense, kind of slow the ball down. I feel like Kentucky has a good running back. Will Levis can make some plays. So I don't know. I think the key is containing Stetson Bennett. And to me, that slows everything down.
And to add on to that, I think your points are spot on. They're a matchup nightmare with the tight end room that they have. Brock
Exactly.
Bowers is a matchup nightmare. I mean, the way that they can flex him out and put his hand in the dirt, and the way he can run routes against linebackers and get open and make big plays, along with their explosiveness on the outside and Stetson Bennett, his playmaking ability, they are just really good on the offensive side of the ball. Conversely, on the defensive side of the ball, I want to tip my cap to the coaching staff at Georgia. I think that this may be the new I don't know if I want to put this out there, but this may be the new standard in college football. Bama's days, they will still be competitive, but I think that Georgia, with the way that they show that they can reload this year,
Right.
has figured it out. To lose 8 drafted guys on the defensive side of the ball from your national championship team and turn around and be playing as well as they are on both sides of the ball this year
Right.
is
Right.
impressive. I mean, look at it a couple years ago. I know different scenario, but LSU fields one of the best teams we've ever seen and wins the national championship with Joe Burrow and so on and so forth. And the next year, there's a big drop off because
No, for
guys.
sure.
This, you got a national championship year, historic, lift the trophies, you're partying all off season, celebrating, so on and so forth, and you reload and you get refocused and they're playing as well as they are. I think that's a tip of the cap to the strength staff, the coaching staff, the leaders on that team. It really is incredible to watch. I'm taking Georgia in this one. I think that they're going to go blemishless, potentially all the way through, but certainly to the playoff. Let me ask you one more question while we're on Georgia, then we'll move on. We mentioned at the beginning of the show, you got to play in 5 college football playoff teams.
Right. Oh no. You might have broke up on me. What? Ask that question one more time.
College football playoff teams. We've talked a lot about the been there before factor.
Right.
Which means, hey, we went. We know what it feels like to walk the halls and get the gear and prepare for a college football playoff game. So it's not new to us. We're not sitting in the shiny bright lights.
Right.
Is that what Georgia's experiencing right now as they make this run? Is the moment not quite as big for them than it is for other people because they have that comfortability navigating these waters?
Yeah, I was definitely piggyback off the last statement you made before the question was. I think it's definitely, you look across college football, and there are times when a university can have a really good team, and it's just all the pieces align. The football gods bless that team, and it's like you get a 2019 LSU team who was arguably one of the best teams we've seen during this era of college football, and it was just like this. That was their year. Then you have other programs where I feel like Clemson, Bama have shown sustained success with building a true program, not building a really good team. And so I think Georgia is definitely taking into that model of consistency, of being in the playoffs, being a team that's a true contender year in and year out, winning a national championship, and being able to bounce back and be a competitive number one ranked team. And so you definitely hats off to that program for what they're doing, because the thing is they weren't that for a long time. They were the up and down program, like the Oklahoma that was kind of in one year, out the next year, not competitive, kind of losing big games, whatever. But to me, they really solidified themselves as like being one of those major teams. And to that playoff question, I definitely think it matters. It's like, I think it's one thing to think you're supposed to be somewhere, and it's another thing to know you're supposed to be somewhere. You know you belong, and they definitely feel like they carried themselves in a way like it's a national championship or bust. Even though they haven't won one besides that in the last 40 years, but now that's the standard. It's like we've won one. Why can we not go get another one? And they're definitely playing like they're the team. They're not contending. They're going to attack and to go get another national championship. So pass up to what Kirby Smart's doing there is definitely evident that they're building a really good program.
One more question on this point. When you guys would go, how many national championships do you have?
I was a part of 2016 and 2018, so I got 2.
You got 2. So you win the national championship. First day of off season, first team meeting before you start the next year.
Yeah.
What was Dabo's message to you guys? Did he act like it never happened and it's on to the next year? or was he the guy that said, "Guys, we've been there. Let's do everything the same. Let's buy in from day one, so on and so forth, and we can go do this again." What is that message that Kirby Smart has been addressing all year long
Right.
that Dabo shared?
Right. I think it's one thing, even as a coach, like even as much as players like other buy, I feel like coaches like you have a standard that you hopefully leads you to ultimate success. And Kirby finally did that. So the plan he had, the culture he established, the routine, the habits, the motivation, the pregame speeches, all the things, all the support staff, everything worked to get that team to a national championship. And so even for him, like the proof is in the progress. And so I think what you've seen there, like, so unlike LSU, to me, LSU that was an interesting year. Like the head coach who was there now inspired. They won national championship. Cool. Now they're rebuilding with Brian Kelly. But to me, Kirby Smart's like, hey, like what we've done, the culture we have here is proven. So you definitely have to buy in. One of the biggest things I'm sure Kobe's like to me, great head coach says, like last year's wins don't carry over. And so last year's touchdowns don't carry over. Just because you won last year doesn't mean you'll get a trophy this year. So there's a little bit of both. There's a little bit of like our program is proven, so it gives you more incentive to really buy in and believe like if I do what I'm supposed to do here, it's going to get me to the ultimate goal. But at the same time, whether you're on a team last year or guys have left, you got to buy back in because last year's success is equal this year's success.